Okay, we have to be honest with ourselves. Alice in Borderland Season 2, Episode 8 was a complete bust. It was. Okay, repeat it with me. It was a complete bust. Okay. None of us really want to admit it because this TV show has a stronghold on us. Okay, trust me, I understand. Like, I'm a victim of this, but we have to admit it to ourselves. As I was watching the 8th episode, I was thinking to myself, like, they could have done this better. We see that what actually happened, unless they're actually tricking us. You know what would be crazy if they were actually tricking us at this point? Like, if this was the entire trick and I'd seen it done better somewhere else. But I was still trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, but I could not. Okay, and so we're gonna dissect the 8th episode and we're gonna figure out what went wrong and why it just didn't work. So, Alice in Borderland is a TV show. It's like a post-apocalyptic type beat, but it has a twist. We don't know if this is the real world or not, and we're assuming that it's not the real world. So the premise of this TV show is that the characters of the show were in real life Japan, right? Present day Japan. But all of a sudden something happened and they ended up in this different world where they're forced to play these games to stay alive, and they are subjected to a bunch of different violent situations and just things that are outside of the normal world. And also the population of Japan just is not there, of Tokyo is just not there. It's just them, the players. So it's like this like cataclysmic event could have happened. Who knows what happened, right? We don't know what happened. We don't know why they're there. 8th episode was trying to explain this to us, or rather trying to trick us into believing an answer. Okay, this is a spoiler for season 2 if you have not watched it yet, so go watch it and then come back. I think that they didn't actually escape Borderland. That's the main character of the show. I'm probably gonna butcher his name. Arisu? Kind of like, okay, some of my friends told me this, it sounds like Alice. Arisu sounds like Alice. We're gonna call him A. Okay, I'm just gonna say his name. So Arisu and his girlfriend Usagi, I'm gonna pronounce them wrong, they got through the last, like the second to last face card. So now they're going on to the Queen of Hearts. That is the last stage, the last game that they know of, okay? So basically, the problem here is Arisu and Usagi have been trying to get back home. They want to go back to the real world, but they have a question. They want to know why. Why are they in this world? What is the point? Who is running this? What's going on, right? Which is a pretty valid question. But as Arisu and Usagi go into this final game, the Queen of Hearts is this trickery person. As we know, heart games are all about like mind games. It's like nothing is as it seems on the surface is what I'm getting out of these heart games. So Arisu should know this because he's literally been going through like all of these games to stay alive. So he should know this by now. But for some reason, like, he just can't wrap his head around the fact that this is supposed to be trickery. Like, at first he was like, okay. The background of the game, it's a croquet game. So the Queen of Hearts wants them to finish 3 rounds. They only have to finish 3 rounds. They don't have to win 3 rounds, right? Okay, simple enough. She said weapons are allowed. Okay, that's a trick. Because Arisu was like, okay, if we kill you, the game never ends. We never escape this. Valid, okay? But the Queen of Hearts, after the second round that they finish, is like, let's sit down for some tea. You know, it's customary. Let's sit down for some tea before the final round. And Arisu was like, let's hurry this up because Usagi is bleeding out because of the King of Spades from the previous game. But the Queen of Hearts is like, let's just enjoy this. And Arisu is like, okay, fine. So tell me who's running this, what's happening, why are we here in this world that's like absolutely insane and crazy? And here is where the problem begins with this episode. Okay, at first, the Queen of Hearts is like, I can't tell you. And Arisu is like, I want to know. And she's like, okay, fine, I'll tell you. Bruh. Usagi knows it's a trick. She's like, Arisu, just finish, let's just finish the last round. He's like, I must know. I have to know. So the Queen of Hearts, you know, she goes with it. She goes with it. She really goes with it. So the first scenario she gives, the first reason she gives as to why they're there was actually quite believable. But she goes through 3 reasons, and each one is a lie, okay? The first reason, and at this point, the episode wasn't ruined yet, okay? The episode was not ruined yet at this point. She gives them a reason as to why this is happening, okay? So she's like, so the world that you think is your present day world, you are actually a simulation. So she basically is saying that the world that's actually present day is 1,000 years in the future of the world that they think is present day. They think that the world of present day is like 2020 or 2022, but they're actually in 3022 or something. And there's been so many advances in science that everything is boring, basically is what she's saying. And the only way they can get some sort of reason to live, because the only thing you need to live at this point is just dopamine, and they have all the technology they need to live forever. They're basically eternal, right? Humans are basically eternal beings at this point. So she's saying that they literally built a simulation where you're hooked up, and what they're doing right now, as in Alice in Borderland, the games, that's part of the simulation that they literally signed up for. And that was so believable. I was like, low key. I was like, I knew it. Like, it makes sense if you think about it. Like, that would actually make sense. And it was the first explanation that she gave them. So us viewers were like, okay, I understand. I can see where she's coming from. But then she goes and said, ha, I'm just joking. And I was like, oh, she's joking. They played us. But then, okay, at this point, the episode was not ruined yet. However, this is where it was ruined, okay? She goes and tries to give a second explanation. That's like stupid. Like, we know it's not true. She's basically saying this for the second explanation. She goes and says that there's aliens, okay? And basically there was like a natural disaster or something, and now the wealthy are beneath the ground betting on AI. So she's saying that Arusu and Usagi and all their friends are just AI, and that the wealthy people are betting on them and seeing who's gonna win these games. That's obviously not true. Us viewers can see that's fake. So that's where I think it fell flat for the entire episode. After that point of the second explanation, it fell flat, okay? They went too far with trying to make it seem like otherworldly and mind-bending for the viewers that it just didn't work. They didn't execute it well. I think I've seen this method somewhere before, and they executed it much better than Alice in Borderland did. I'm not really quite sure where I've seen this method before, but I know it's somewhere. So that's why I was very disappointed when I watched this episode, because I was like, bro, like, this is not good. Like, you're not tricking us anymore. I think they were trying to go for like a Black Mirror type beat, like a mind bend, like, oh my god, what's true, what's fake. But they missed the mark when it came to the second explanation, and they really missed the mark when it came to the third. After she gave the second explanation of why they were there, that it was the wealthy betting on them, their AI, she was like, ha, just joking. Here's the real truth. Okay. At this point, we know she's playing with them. We know this is a hearts game. We know that she gave us 2 false explanations. So we have 3 reasons to know that she's still just playing with them. She's still playing with them. And this last explanation she gives had potential to be true, but we just knew that it was false, okay? It's just like, it's obvious it was, because she just gives us no reason to trust her. And we know this is the whole point of a hearts game, mind games, okay? We know that it's trickery and that you really have to think past the surface level, okay? So she basically tells Arisu that his friends died, which we knew that happened in season 1 of Alice in Borderland, but within the Borderland, right? But she's saying that his friends died in the real world, and that he is in therapy. He's like locked up in this institution with Usagi, and that the therapist is trying to help him through to process his friend's death, right? No. This doesn't work, okay? So they're saying that Arisu made all of this up in his head. She's basically saying, don't you realize all these games that you've been playing are not beyond your own imagination? These are kids' games. Why would why would aliens want you to play kids' games? This is all in your head. It's all in your head. No, it's not. No, like, it just doesn't make any sense, okay? Like, what? Like, the execution was not there. And at this point, it was just dragging along. The third explanation, we knew it was false. We knew it wasn't possible. We just knew that she was tricking them, but yet they dragged it out for, Lord knows, like 10 minutes of it was just dumb. Okay, I'm sorry, it was dumb. I'm sorry. The rest of the season was pretty good. Honestly, I don't think it was as good as the first season, but this last explanation, this last episode was just not good, okay? But thankfully, Arusu is not a dumb boy, so he finally realizes, oh yeah, this is a hearts game. I'm being tricked. This is not true. I'm not actually in a mental ward. And I'm not actually being seen by a therapist right now. Queen of Hearts is just trying to trick me, but by the help of Usagi. Like, it literally took him a really long time to figure this out, okay? Like, us viewers had to deal with that long time that it took him to figure it out. But I had to see it through, my boy. We got to see it through, my boy. So I finished the episode, obviously. The ending was a letdown. Okay, but actually the last frame was pretty crazy. But the ending in general was a letdown. So they finally beat the Queen of Hearts, and then they get two options. Either you get to become a citizen of Borderland, or you get to decline citizenship. So, of course, Arusu, Usagi, a lot of people declined citizenship. And we see that what actually happened, unless they're actually tricking us. You know, it would be crazy if they were actually tricking us at this point. Like, if this was the entire trick, instead of it being like the Queen of Hearts tricking them, if it was the TV show tricking us at this point. Now that would be the real kicker. If we got to season 3 and we're like, oh, we were tricked, they didn't actually escape Borderland, that would hit. That would hit really hard. But I don't know if they have the guts for that. Like, you know what I mean? But anyways, so they escape Borderland. What actually happened in Tokyo is that the fireworks that they saw when they transported to Borderland was actually an explosion. There's a huge explosion. A lot of people died. So people who died in Tokyo were the people who died in Borderland. So they're saying that within the minute that a lot of people's hearts stopped, in that minute, months or however long the season 1 and season 2 were, months happened where everyone was playing these games. And if you passed through these games, then you would survive on to the next game and the next game. And if you finally got through the last game, then you got to like actually live in the real world. Like you were alive in the real world. But all those months were condensed into 1 minute in the real world. And obviously, as they were going through these games, I thought to myself, okay, in the real world, time is not the same. I just had a feeling that time would not be the same in the real world as it is in Alice in Borderland. So I was right. That was nice. But anyways, so the minute that had passed in the real world was so much time in Borderland, okay? So basically, if they accepted citizenship in Borderland, I think they died in the real world, okay? But if they declined citizenship, then they were resuscitated in the real world. So that was a pretty interesting concept that they had there. But what I didn't like is that they couldn't remember each other when they were all in the hospital. Like, that was like not good. All the character development, all of like the relationships and everything, the friendships gone. Bro, I was not happy about that, but I don't think many of us were. But of course, Arusu and Usagi, they saw each other and they're going on a little date in the hospital. How cute. But then the last frame is they show us a deck of cards. You know, there's a couple like someone had like, you know, shared the cards out. So there's like a couple like stacks. And in the middle was the throwaway deck, right? The wind blew the cards away. And what was left? The Joker card. The Joker card. Okay, so at this point, I was like, what is going on? What is the meaning of this? So I searched up the meaning of the Joker card. Often, the Joker is a wild card, which allows it to represent other existing cards. The term Joker's wild originates from this practice. Another source says the Joker is the card beyond roll, the card that's wild. that can be any card in the pack. So the Joker, Fool, or Jester is a mysterious figure. He is found in the tarot, where his number is 0 and symbolizes all the ending and beginnings that make up the intricate journey of life. I think that they didn't actually escape Borderland. That's my prediction. Or I think that if they want to save the trash of the 8th episode that it was, that should be the actual reason for that card. I know that they're just putting the card there, so it's like there might be a 3rd season if like the 2nd season is well received. But I think what it should mean is that, lo and behold, what you think happened didn't actually happen. That should be the entire mind bend that they wanted us to actually feel with the 3 explanations that the Queen of Hearts gave. It should in fact be that the entire episode, that the entire reason, the entire ending, the entire fact that they left Borderland is actually false. Unfortunately, the 8th episode of Alice in Borderland fell flat, but there's a chance for a revival. I still think the season was good, just it was a little bit of a letdown at the end. But you know, there's always potential for hope. Okay, if you liked the video, subscribe, and I don't typically make videos like this, but I thought it had to be said. I couldn't stay silent for much longer, so